Welcome to my review of a Chinese martial arts film, Ip Man 4. There it is. If you can't take a constructive critical review, feel free to hit the thumbs down button right now, and you can just skip the bad news, because there's quite a few things wrong with the producers of this film. Alright? The real Wing Chun Kung Fu dummy in this movie is Donnie Yen. Here is the cartoonish character they created. This is supposed to be a gunnery sergeant in the United States Marine Corps who breaks into the Chinese Benevolent Association, attacks everyone there, and it's just ridiculous. Is this it? Is this your Chinese Kung Fu movie? United States Marine Corps gunnery sergeant breaking into the Chinese Benevolent Association, attacking everyone, hauling off the chairman of the association, and back onto a Marine Corps base where the entire battalion witnesses a death match. I mean, a martial arts contest, Donnie Yen knows this, a martial arts contest is not a death match. So here's the death match in front of the gunnery sergeant wakes up a bunch of Marines, and in the middle of the night throws this Chinese Benevolent Association chairman onto the mat and challenges him to a fight to the death. And I can't imagine, maybe somebody who was in the Marines could tell me if something like this could actually happen. I mean, I know the answer. No way. Basically this fictional character goes through the movie just spouting racial superiority and attacking Chinese people. So it's beyond cartoonish. And the main point isn't that just there's no people like this in the Marine Corps. They would be cashiered out. And more importantly, I mean, this is not martial arts. This is propaganda. Martial arts contests, they aren't even fighting. They're an exchange of knowledge. You're supposed to gain knowledge and wisdom, and that's when you stop, when you've learned something. What I've learned about Donnie Yen is he's willing to make propaganda in order to produce a film. So that doesn't impress me. Your ethics are that of the Chinese Communist Party. As a matter of fact, it's more like you're bootlicking the Chinese Communist Party, kowtowing, whatever the word is. This is very well-made Chinese propaganda. And if you're a fan of martial arts choreography, you might just want to watch it just for that. But I thought I'd do a review of this film because the entire purpose of the film, I mean, this might play in mainland China. I could see everyone in the theater in mainland China, every time Donnie Yen lands a punch on the white U.S. Marine guy, they'll stand up and cheer. I mean, you want to cheer for the hero in a kung fu movie. That's how they make them. But I find it hard to cheer for Donnie Yen or watch any of his movies anymore. In this scene, the top gunnery sergeant at this base burns a Wing Chun Kung Fu practice dummy. It's a wood dummy. It's like a punching bag. Because he doesn't like Chinese Kung Fu or anything about China. And it tries to establish him as a racial supremacy nut. Sorry, I've never met a Marine that was a racial supremacy nut, and I can't imagine one. And the truth is that the Chinese Communist Party has killed more Chinese people than everyone else in the history of the world combined. And that is the injustice of this film. They want to deflect the bad guy as the US Marines because they don't want anybody to think about Tiananmen Square or anything else that the Chinese Communist Party has done. Everything from the food famine that Chairman Mao caused by trying to outproduce British steel. Like I said, the Chinese Communist Party has killed more Chinese people than everyone else in the world combined. If this film producer wanted to help the Chinese people, he ought to do something to portray the Chinese Communist Party as it truly is. The real Wing Chun kung fu dummy in this movie is Donnie Yen. I mean, the Chinese Communist Party has killed more Chinese people than anyone else in the history of the world. And this fiction that he created about this place called San Francisco where everyone hates Chinese people, and this fictional character of a United States Marine gunnery sergeant who espouses and indoctrinates his battalion with racial superiority dogma, just like Adolf Hitler. It could never happen. There's no way a bunch of Marines would sit still for that. A gunnery sergeant might be an imposing feature, but there's never been a person like that could survive in a United States military institution. And this fiction is just Chinese propaganda. I didn't go see this in a movie theater because I knew based on some of the trailers that I saw for it that while it would have great fight choreography, it would be I knew what was coming. The Chinese government needs a narrative because the truth is, have you ever heard of the Tiananmen Square massacre? Can you even say that in China without being shot, arrested, or thrown into a camp? When the film Midway was released, in spite of the fact that Japan lost this battle, it was a huge theatrical hit in Japan because the characters were portrayed as real people doing their job in the military. They weren't cartoonish, racist stereotypes. So, in the film Ip Man 4, all the Americans are racist stereotypes. That's why it wasn't a hit. If they wanted a big hit, if they wanted to make a real good movie, they can't portray the characters as cartoonish, racist characters. So that's not what we did in the battle of this film, starring Charlton Heston, Glenn Ford, Henry Fonda, Shiro Mifune. They were just people fighting for their country. They weren't stereotypes. They weren't cartoonish characters. So even though Japan lost the battle, this film did very well theatrically in Japan. In America, the Marines are the good guys.